we're going down. Now, if that goes down, to keep raising interest rates, all those bonds will crash because, who wants a 5% bond when you get a 10% bond? And the rumor is, this is according to Andy Schectman, a long shot is this: Japan may join the BRICS, Brazil, India. And what will happen is then, instead of a bailout, bailout's what happened with Lehman Brothers in 2008.
Today, we have renowned financial educator and author Robert Kiyosaki sharing his prediction and concerns about the possibility of an impending financial crash. Kiyosaki says in the coming weeks, he expects global economic policies, the devaluation of U.S. treasuries, and the potential for a bail-in scenario at Bank of America. He suggests that the Federal Reserve's decision to raise interest rates may lead to a crash in the bond market and, ultimately, a crash of the U.S. dollar. He also highlights the Bank of International Settlements' decision to replace U.S. treasuries as an indication of the changing value of paper assets. Kiyosaki also notes that the reverse repo market, where banks are returning money to the Federal Reserve, may be an indicator of another financial crisis. Let's get right into the latest interview with Robert Kiyosaki as he talks about the biggest financial crash of this generation. If you enjoy the content we do here, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into the video.
Andy Schectman says this is called the 3 times crash. All paper assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, crash. Real estate's going to crash. And this is going to crash, the US dollar. So the BRICS nation are coming, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now Saudi Arabia coming after us. What's happening is that in 2017, the BIS, Bank of International Settlements, made gold Tier 1 asset. See, up until then, the U.S. Treasury was Tier 1 assets. So the whole world is filled with U.S. treasuries and bonds. And as you and I have talked over the years, I don't like treasuries and bonds, and because they're fake. So what's going to happen is when they keep raising interest rates, those treasuries they're becoming worthless. Let's say you have a treasury at 5% or a bond at 5%, and the interest rates go to 10%. It's going to collapse the system. So like Japan, which has had quantitative easing for years and years and years and years now, is filled with U.S. treasuries. So is China. So is the Fed. And so what just started to happen, a few months, 2017 again, there was a reverse repo. And a reverse repo was what happened just before 2008 in America. And a reverse repo is very simply this, is what happens is the Fed will give money to, let's say, a Tier 1 bank, like, let's say, Bank of America. A reverse repo is this. So if a Fed gives money to Bank of America, that's called a repo. So they're backing up Bank of America. A reverse repo is Bank of America and all the Tier 1 banks give it back to the Fed. They don't want the money. They don't want the bond. And it's not they don't want the bond. When they give the money, when the bank, let's say Bank of America, gives the money back to the Fed, that's saying we don't want to lend money anymore. Bank of America, when they give all those treasuries back or the bonds back to the Fed, people will run on Bank of America and can say, we want our money back. We want our savings back. And Bank of America says, our door is shut because there's a run on the bank. But guess what? Instead of your cash or your savings, we'll give you back stock in Bank of America. That's a bail-in. Now, I hope it doesn't happen, but that's what I was writing about. So as you know, I'm a huge gold, silver nut. And I would rather have silver right now, which is the biggest bargain in world history today. It's the real estate was my generation's investment because it was debt. For your generation, it's silver, because right today in America, it's cost me $30 to buy a silver eagle. $30. This stuff is trash. This is trash here. Cash is trash. So that's a bail-in, bail-out. That's what happens. You have a repo and a reverse repo. So the reverse repo is the banks are giving back the money to the Fed. We don't want it. I think it's here to stay for a while. And the reason is, it's not that they printed, trillions after COVID. But the real reason is what was the first act that Communist Joe Biden did? His first act was he cut off the Keystone XL pipeline from Canada to America. And I sell oil. I used to be an oil tanker officer for Standard Oil. I don't touch paper assets. I don't touch stocks, bonds. I wouldn't buy an Exxon stock. I wouldn't buy Standard Oil stock or Chevron, whatever they call it now. I buy the physical oil. And my oil wells are in Dakota, North Dakota, Louisiana, and Texas. And so I was selling oil. Biden comes to office. My friend Donald Trump, Trump and I have written 2 books together. He's a good friend of mine. And what happened is, when Biden took office, his first act was to cut off the Keystone XL pipeline, again, running from Alberta to America. I was selling oil down that day for $30 a barrel on the spot exchange, as you know. That day went to $130 a barrel. When that happened, I knew what Biden was up to, or the are up to. They're crushing the poor and middle class. So this is the irony of it, David. Guys like me get richer. So, you sell oil from $30, also getting $130. I almost voted for Biden after that one. I said, thank you, Joe. But then I realized what he's doing. He's going to crush the poor and middle class, and that sets us up for revolution, David. Well, job stands for just over broke. Because of taxes. Who pays the highest taxes? Cash flow quadrant, employees around the world, David. Employees pay 40% in tax around the world. The second are self-employed or small business entrepreneurs or doctors and lawyers, self-employed. They pay 60%. Big business guys like me pay 20%, and hardcore inside investors like me pay 0%. We don't pay taxes. That's why when Trump was running for office against Hillary, and Hillary said to him, well, we don't pay taxes, and Trump says, because I'm smart. The reason I don't pay taxes is simply because, there's 3 types of income: earned, portfolio, passive. Passive income is 0%. Portfolio is 20%. That's when you flip stocks, you flip real estate. And earned is when you work for money, like a doctor, a lawyer, or an employee. That's 40%. So it's just common sense. You just check the tax rates. I wrote that in Cash Flow Quadrant, my second book.
Kiyosaki believes that the current inflationary environment is not only due to the trillions of dollars printed in the last 3 years, but also because of U.S. government policies. This has caused the price of oil to skyrocket, which he suggests is a deliberate attempt to crush the middle class and set the country up for a revolution. Kiyosaki says the tax system is broken, especially how it affects different income categories. He points out that inside investors pay 0%, which will be one of the catalysts for the impending financial crash. He suggests investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, especially in an uncertain economic climate. Kiyosaki warns that the recent banking crisis is no coincidence and is just a precursor for what's coming in the next few weeks. What do you think about Robert Kiyosaki's prediction for the financial market and how crypto will play a major role in acquiring digital assets? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.